It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso, and you are rejoining our discussion with lawyer and director at legalese.co.za and our good friend Eitan Stern as he breaks down the incoming changes to the wage and operating costs in the restaurant industry in South Africa.
The news have not been received very well by the restaurant industry because throughout lockdown, I think they are the one industry that has taken a huge knock. Can you please explain to us the interdict that was taken by the restaurant employers?
Sure. So the restaurant owners have obviously not been happy about this, and they've gone to court to try to stop the changes, which are meant to go into effect this month. Some of them are meant to come in May, and some are meant to start from this month. So they've tried to stop it. And what they're saying is, first of all, the changes are unfair, and second of all, that there hasn't been enough support from the industry, that this bargaining council doesn't actually represent the industry. So we're going to wait to see how that plays out, essentially.
I was going to say, because surely the bargaining council would be that representation, that you would have to have that coming from an external force kind of nullifies the existence.
Exactly. So bargaining councils, they're set up to manage, but they're like governing bodies that manage specific industries. So as I said earlier, they're made up of lots of parts of the industry, and they get their own kind of almost like a court system to govern disputes, and they're allowed to make rules. So it's quite an important thing, and when one is set up, it's set up with in terms of the Labour Relations Act. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know the details of why they say that this bargaining council is legitimate, but we'll find out soon.
So I'm going to hire you now to sit and chair our next bargaining council meeting and play mediator between all these parties. What do you think is a positive way forward, a way to strike a balance in this case, considering all the pressures that the industry is under?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a tough one. We're in this unprecedented time of the COVID crisis. The big enemy here is lockdowns, and that's because of COVID. And so, you know, we're all starting to squabble over what the solutions are. But we mustn't forget, like, we're all on the same team. The bad guy here is this disease that's around. What can government do? Well, I would hope they could make laws which allow restaurants to stay open. I'm very happy that alcohol is being sold again at restaurants, because that entices people to go out. It means people can take responsibility and take risks if they want to. But still, you can measure that up about creating safety ways for people to stay safe in restaurants. But certainly the only way that this is going to end is when we're all vaccinated and this thing is behind us.
Yeah.
I have to add, what are we really dealing with here? What will happen to the restaurants that don't comply to this? How is this going to be enforced?
Sure. So there are enforcement mechanisms for these bargaining councils. So if they don't comply, they'll be told to comply. And if they still don't after that, they can be served notice to appear before an arbitration or mediation, and if they lose it there, then there can be fines for the restaurants who don't comply. So these bargaining council rules work just like any other rules.
Yeah.
Great. I was saying, with this interdict, will that affect this coming into effect on the 1st of May? So if the interdict is seen before then, and there's a judgment before then it will. If not, and we're still waiting for the judgment, then it won't. Then these will come into effect, and restaurants will be forced to comply with these new laws, and prices will change. But look, I think change is always difficult. Change is always hard. You know, restaurant workers, I certainly worked in lots of restaurants when I was growing up. Generally, restaurant workers aren't paid anything, and they're made to survive on tips. So I definitely think the industry does require some change. It's not nice that it's happening now in COVID at a time where restaurant owners are hurting, and I totally get that. But change is tough. But we need to be talking about this.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was about to ask you what your stance is in the entire situation, and I agree with you because I also used to work at restaurants. I know for a fact that restaurant workers are hardly paid enough to just get through. You know, they rely on tips a lot. And you, G, you mentioned that the tip should increase to 15%.
Is that the answer? But I think for me, it's like you kind of feel like in that informal space of being a waiter, you do have some control, and you can drive up your, you work at a good restaurant, you work good hours, you can make good money. What about the guy bussing tables? What about the guy cleaning the restaurant after the fact? What about the...
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to affect everyone. It's going to affect the guys in the kitchen, the bar staff, and also the restaurant workers that are sitting in restaurants that aren't full, that aren't making their tips. So Yeah, it's, you know, solutions are tough, but they do need to be thought through. So I think it's good. I think the fact that we're talking about this on Expresso, the fact that there is a bargaining council, the fact that it's in the media and people are engaging with a specific industry and labour that we wouldn't have engaged with before is always a good thing. And I hope there's a solution which
favors both parties.
Yeah. Favors both parties.
And the vaccine is here, man. We've just got to just see it out, man. The vaccine
We're
is here.
almost
Things
there.
will improve, but hopefully we'll see more cohesion between that bargaining council and the industry at large. And ultimately that workers will be protected and that we can see more restaurants thriving here in the country. Eitan, really interesting. Thank you so much.
Cool.
You can let us know if you've got any opinions. Maybe you're a waiter. What do you think? 20%? 30% tip? Let us know.